剣術スキルはそっちのが高いみてえだな。ああ、こいつはどうかな。あ、フラン死ね分割思考。
So this was another good episode of Reincarnated as a Sword. And we saw, our favorite girl, Fran, take on the dungeon for the first time. All the way through, finally being able to meet the dungeon master. And I think that is, what was really important here and kind of like the standout thing is she was able to kind of go all the way to the dungeon master. They were even able to take down the king and queen goblins. And when we finally met the dungeon master, we saw that he was a level threat B demon. He was a greater demon. These level B greater demons have the ability or the ferocity or the threat level to be able to kind of like take off or like destroy a whole entire nation. So obviously, this is the greatest threat that Fran and 𝐒𝐻𝐲 have ever faced yet. So we were able to see all of that, which I thought was absolutely fantastic. Okay, so I've laid all that out. I think that was cool. We were able to see that. The reason I said at the top, this was a good episode. This was a good episode of Reincarnated as a Sword. Is I don't think this was like a spectacular episode. I don't think it was a hype episode. I just think it was a good episode. Solid 7, 8 out of 10. Nothing unexpected happened. Nothing crazy happened, nothing that got me to be super hype, during the episode really happened. Nothing that got me to be like, happened. I think the closest moment, this episode specifically, was when Fran got her hands cut off. Now, obviously, we knew that, somehow, some way, she was going to be able to make it out of that okay. And, I think that moment was important because I think it taught her a valuable lesson of not letting your guard down. And, always being on the defensive in some way, shape, or form. Even if it's deep in her subconscious, to always be on the defensive. So I think it was a good lesson for her. And I think it was a good lesson for teacher to kind of learn that, she is not undefeatable. She is not immortal. She is not, this beast class person. She's a little girl and she can get easily hurt. So I think it's a good, valuable lesson for both 𝐒𝐻𝐲 and for Fran for the hand stuff. Now, he was able to quickly react. He was able to use teleportation. He was able to use, his dual mind stuff. He was able to use his fire. He was able to use greater healing or whatever it was called to put her hands back and everything. I do love the little sprinkle that we normally don't get when people heal in anime. And that was when 𝐒𝐻𝐲 was like, hey, can you feel your hands? And she was like, a little bit. They're a little still numb. And I thought that was a cool little extra tidbit. Because you always think, like, oh, you get your arm cut off and then they heal it. You're just good to go. But she was like, I don't really have feeling in it. It's coming back kind of thing. And I was like, that makes sense. Like, that is grounded in real world. Like, yeah, if you cut off your hand and, even magically, if you're able to put it back, you imagine it takes your brain and everything, sometimes you're like, okay, we got our hand back, okay, let's feel again. The hand went cold for a little bit. So I thought that was a really cool additive realism, kind of aspect to it that we normally don't get in anime. Even though it was like this little 1 sentence, 5-second little quip that they said. I thought it was important, and that added more to the detail that the anime was able to provide. So I thought that was a really cool thing. The rest of the episode, I did note here that the guild lady is thick AF. If you guys didn't notice that, go ahead and rewind. She's thick AF. I did notice that. I did notice that they did mention goddess points when we saw the actual dungeon master. So the actual dungeon master was just a level 11 goblin mage or something. So the actual dungeon master, if he didn't summon this greater demon, would have just been a level 11 goblin. Easily be able to take that on. But we found out that apparently there's goddess points. Maybe there's like, this guy could level up the dungeon some way, shape, or form. So I'm sure that we're going to get to learn more about that. I did find it interesting that this demon that they're facing has an ability called Skill Taker. I don't know exactly where I don't know if him taking Fran's sword skills will really make anything worse. It's definitely going to make him better for sure. I don't know if it's going to make her worse necessarily. So I guess, it remains to be seen. And I think they have 1 or 2 options. Go all out or use the feather to get out of there. And then the last thing that I'll say is, they were able to level up quite significantly here with all of the different crystals and stuff. I did find it pretty funny that 𝐒𝐻𝐻 was like, yo, we need to put these in our storage because we can't be leaving crystal bodies behind. So it's like, yo, what are y'all going to do with that? So overall, I say this was a good episode. 7 out of 10, maybe 8 out of 10 on the best day. I personally, my enjoyment was like a 7 out of 10. It's not bad. It's a good episode. And I think the thing that I always say when I kind of poo-poo on a certain episode is I think the grander scale of things, and what I mean by grander scale of things is, I mean, if we were to watch this back to back, all 12 episodes, 13 episodes, whatever it's going to be. How many episodes is it going to be, actually? If we were to watch this kind of back to back, I think it's going to be 12 or 13. This would be just a good episode in a bunch of great episodes. So I think that would be totally okay. But let me know what you guys thought about this episode. Let me know what you think about 𝐒𝐻𝐻, and let me know what you think about Fran losing her hands. And let me know what you think about this greater demon. And of course, as always, I'll see you guys next week. Peace.